Hi, I'm Mike Tenney, host of Pop Culture Catechism on Awaken Catholic, and this is Awaken the Word, a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Now, the time came for Elizabeth to give birth, and she bore a son. Her neighbors and relatives heard that the Lord had shown his great mercy to her, and they rejoiced with her. On the 8th day, they came to circumcise the child, and they were going to name him Zacchariah after his father. But his mother said, "No, he is to be called John." They said to her, "None of your relatives have this name." Then they began motioning to his father to find out what name he wanted to give him. He asked for a writing tablet and wrote, "His name is John." And all of them were amazed. Immediately his mouth was opened and his tongue freed, and he began to speak, praising God. Fear came over all their neighbors, and all these things were talked about throughout the entire hill country of Judea. All who heard them pondered them and said, "What then will this child become?" For indeed the hand of the Lord was with him. So in today's gospel, we pick up in the middle of the story of Zacchariah and Elizabeth, who were John the Baptist's parents. And just a quick refresher, Zacchariah was a temple priest, and he's supposed to remind us of Abraham. It's they're this old childless couple, and God comes and tells them, hey, you're going to have a child in your old age. And Abraham, of course, for the Israelites, is the model of faith. He is who they look to as the paragon of faith. He's the most faithful person in the Old Testament, even though he's not perfect. And Zacchariah here responds the same way Abraham did, was saying, what assurance can I have that this is actually going to happen? But instead of being rewarded for his faith, Zacchariah is actually struck dumb for his lack of faith. And then in the next chapter, we get the announcement to Mary that she's going to be pregnant. And instead of asking, what assurance can I have? She asks a question of wonder, not a question of doubt. She asks, how can this be? And so what is happening through this whole story is Luke is setting up Mary as the new Abraham, who has even more faith than Abraham. And so when we come to struggles and situations like this where there's challenges, may our response be not like that of Zacchariah, but that of Mary, that let it be done to me according to your will. And it's okay to question and wonder, how can this be, Lord? How can this happen? All these wondrous things, all these things that I don't understand. How can this happen? But we also learn a lesson from Zacchariah because he has a redemption. Even though he doubted, he was able to come back to the Lord and his mouth is opened again. The second thing I want to talk about here is that the people are astounded that this has happened because they're willing to name him John, even though there's nowhere in their family. It goes against the cultural norms. And we too should confound our neighbors and confound the people in our lives by being willing to be faithful to the gospel, even in the face of rejecting cultural norms. We should be living in such a way with our family and with our finances and everything that we do. The people around us look at us and wonder what we have that they don't, and wonder how we can live with such love. I have been Mike Tenney, and this has been Awaken the Word.